It's 5 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get started if you're all ready. Welcome to our city council meeting today. We would like to excuse the two Michelle Squared. They're not with us tonight. We wish them both the best. And the mayor said she's pretty confident we can handle this. So we'll try. So we're going to go ahead and get started with a prayer. We have the Reverend Rakeen Kesson here from Solomon's Porch and representing the St. George Interfaith Council. Is that correct? Awesome. Welcome.
We bow our hearts. Lord, we are so grateful that we live in a country where we can still call on your name for whatever we need. Lord, we're calling you down now to watch over this meeting, guide our minds, our hearts, and our mouths, so that whatever is decided here will edify you and this city. We thank you for all that you do in our lives and all the provisions that you give us. We pray this in Jesus' name, and everybody says, amen.
Thank you so much for that. I've asked Councilman Steve Kemp to lead us in the pledge.
Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any comments that have been handed in, Christine? No. So we do have, hold on a second to get to the right page here. We do have a proclamation, right? And about Arbor Day that we have Councilman Kemp also that's going to share that with us. So let's start there. Sorry.
Great. Proclamation. Whereas in 1872, Sterling J. Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas the city of St. George recognizes the contributions a healthy community forest has to clean the air and water, reduce storm water runoff, enhance energy conservation, improve public health and safety, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees in our city increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of our business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas the city of St. George has now been recognized as a Tree City USA for the past 34 consecutive years by the National Arbor Day Foundation. And whereas the city of St. George is committed to plant at least 500 new trees each year to renew its urban forest, now, therefore, I, Michelle Randall, Mayor, and along with the City Council of the City of St. George, Utah, do hereby proclaim April 26, 2025 as Arbor Day in the city of St. George, and encourage all public officials, educators, civic groups, and citizens to plant new trees and properly care for our existing trees to help create and promote a healthy environment for the well-being of present and future generations.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Anything else we need to do on that proclamation? If Shane Moore were here, we'd give it to him. He's our
We have Ben here.
Oh,
He's
Ben, come up here. Steve, you need to take that down there and give it to him and get David to take a picture.
Isn't Steve on the shade tree board as well? Yes, put a feather in your cap.
Yep. Ben loves trees just as much as Shane Moore does.
Ben, when's the best time to plant a tree? Ben?
He's trying to smile for the picture.
When's the best time to plant a tree, Ben?
So yeah, 20 years ago and right now.
There you go.
Thank you for the continued support. Arbor Day, we're super excited this year. It's going to be at Bloomington Hills North Park. We know it as Long Park. Many others might know it as that. We are planning on planting 150 trees that day throughout that park. So we're super excited. There's going to be donuts and, drinks, and we'll have plenty of shovels, and it should be a good time. So April 26th, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. So, okay, thank you.
Very cool. April 26th, that was? Awesome. Oh, yeah. Any other comments on that? Thank you. All right, John?
Okay, let's go to item number 3, which is the consent calendar. There's 9 items on the consent calendar this evening. These are administrative items. Staff has reviewed them and recommend approval. However, if the council would like to remove any of these for specific consideration, we can accommodate that. Otherwise, we recommend approval.
Is there an additional one beyond I? Was there an addendum? Okay, sorry. I thought they told me earlier there was going to be an addendum. Okay. Well, if you're looking for a motion,
If there's no questions, absolutely.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent calendar as presented.
We have a motion by Danielle, a second by Natalie. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. No addendum.
Item number 4 is a public hearing and consideration of resolution number 2025-008R to review and approve amendments to the fiscal year 2024-25 budget.
Good evening, council. Tonight's item includes 4 separate amendments for your consideration. As part of my presentation, I'll walk through each of these amendments, and should the council have any question, I'd be happy to address those. So the first 2 items on tonight's budget amendment that are proposed are related to our city golf courses. And before I jumped into those, I just wanted to provide some background commentary. So our city golf courses have had a stellar year so far this year. They're actually up over 10% over where they were last year in revenue, and currently are anticipating to earn around $800,000 more than was anticipated in the budget. So they are having a stellar year, and that's a huge credit to our golf team out there for all of the innovative things they're looking at to try to maximize revenue for the courses and maximize play. So the first item tonight is a request from our golf division to amend the budget to replace netting at the Southgate Golf Club. The Southgate Golf Club has 400 feet of netting to protect vehicles on the Indian Hills Drive. This netting's essentially just worn out. It's over 10 years old. It's in need of replacement. So staff would request to amend the budget amount of $38,500 to replace this netting, and the cost of this would be paid for fully by the golf course. And this is at Southgate. The second item is at our St. George golf course. The golf course, our golf division is requesting to amend the budget to replace the road that goes to the maintenance facility, and also requesting to replace the equipment storage shed. Both of these are extremely old items. We're talking back to the 80s, 90s. They're both in huge disrepair, and they're just in need of replacement. And so staff would request to amend the budget in the amount of $150,000 to replace the roadway, and then also to replace the maintenance shed. And then this is again at the St. George Golf Course. The other 2 amendments tonight are in our other funds. So the first request is by our Parks Community Services Department to amend the budget to replace the carpet at Thunder Junction with artificial turf. As the council knows, the current condition of the carpet is in need of replacement. Staff has made repairs over the years to try to keep that up, and has done a really good job at that, but it's just time to replace that flooring. And so staff would propose to replace it with artificial turf, which we believe will hold up better for the large volume of people that love and visit that park. So staff would request the amended budget in the amount of $293,807 for that replacement, and the funding for this amendment would come from our RAP tax fund for that replacement. And then our final item tonight is from our Public Works Department to amend the budget in the amount of $1.3 million, and this is for the replacement of 2 of our transit buses. So we try to keep our fleet up in a healthy replacement cycle. So our vehicles are used heavily, and they run a lot of miles every year, and we just got 2 of them now that are in need of replacement. There, I believe, is over a 12-month order cycle for this, so we wanted to go ahead and get that order placed. 80% of the cost of these buses is paid for through our FTA grants, and then 20% is paid for through our local match, which we use our transit sales tax fund to pay that local match. And so staff would request to amend the budget amount of $1.3 million to replace 2 of our fleet, 2 of our transit buses. Well, that's our 4 amendments for council's consideration. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Make a comment.
Comments or questions for Robert?
I get a lot of questions about that Thunder Junction carpeting, and I know
staff has looked hard at different material to put down underneath it. And I think, looking at the turf, I think it's a smart move to make at this point. And for residents, if they're listening, we love Thunder Junction. Everybody loves Thunder Junction. And I think it's just a matter of getting the right material under it, and I'm glad to see it's going to be done. And do we have a timeline when that's going down?
My understanding is the replacement will begin in May. I believe will take 3 weeks. Mark may be able to correct. About a month, okay.
Thanks, Mark.
That would be a good Facebook post. 'Cause I know a lot of people ask about that. Any other questions for Robert? This is a public hearing, so I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for any who are here that would like to speak on this issue. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and come back to you, council, for your action.
Mayor Pro Tem Hughes, I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution to amend the fiscal year budget, the 2024-2025 budget as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion by Danielle, second by Natalie. This is a resolution requiring a roll call vote, starting with Steve.
Steve Kemp, aye.
Danielle Larkin, aye.
Jimmy Hughes, aye.
Natalie Larson, aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Item number 5, consider approval of a hillside development permit to allow disturbance of slopes exceeding 20% and determine whether those slopes are natural or man-made. And Brett will present this item.
Good evening, City Council. So the hillside item, it's located just west of Bluff Street at 800 South, outlined here. Current land use designation, it is in the downtown connected corridor and in the C2 commercial zone. So the proposed hillside permit is for basically the construction of a private, well, I guess you should say a commercial tennis court, along with some parking and restroom facilities. So the tennis court would be covered. There'd be the various retaining walls that are shown along there, along the west side, south side, and kind of almost around the whole thing. So really, obviously with this hillside permit, you've got these slopes here shown, the red being exceeding 40%, and any of the color areas basically exceeding that 20%, which required this hillside permit. So the hillside review board did go out to the site on February 26th and made the recommendation that all of the slopes on this project site are man-made. And if you've been out to the site, obviously it does not appear to be natural. So that was the hillside's recommendation. It went to Planning Commission on March 11th. They recommended approval as well, with the one additional condition of approval that these retaining walls that would be necessary and needed, that those be stained to match with the adjacent hillside rather than being kind of that, bright white oftentimes that you'll see. So that was the one added condition that they did, and again, a 5-0 recommendation to approve this hillside permit. And that concludes the presentation.
Any questions for Brett?
Yeah, I'm curious about commercial use, like rent to play, just play for the people that live there.
Looks to me like someone's building a private tennis court facility that then they can sell memberships to.
Yeah, so I talked to the property owner who intends to build the facility, because I was like, well, what do we mean by that? And it was actually interesting. So it would be to hold to private lessons, or it could even be a facility. He mentioned that it's kind of a bit of a novel concept that he wants to do. So similar to like a batting cage, where you could go and rent out the facility and then, have the balls just automatically fed to you. If you see there on the image there, it talks about a ball return area. So this would be almost a facility where you could come, rent it out for an hour or something, and just like a batting cage, just kind of have those balls coming and, nonstop there. So something that he says, I said, well, have you ever seen that anywhere? And he says, I want to try it, I want to see if it'll work here. So that's kind of the part of the concept that he wants to do with this facility.
But it's not an indoor, it's just a covered tennis
Just
court.
covered, yeah,
So as far as, we'll get down the road to lighting and all that later, and hours of operation,
correct.
okay?
You sure he didn't want to do pickleball?
I made doubly sure.
I think that's a great point. Since I'm assigned to work with the Parks Department, I do hear that they're getting these requests for tennis courts because we've put so much focus on pickleball. So I'm super happy to see this being done privately. It's great. And the fact that this has been determined to be man-made slopes, takes away any reservations. So
I went out and drove by this, and it's all bulldozer.
yeah.
The whole area has been torn up.
This is behind what used to be. So date you?
Or Long John Silver's.
Skippers. That shows you how old I am. That's Skippers, right? Wasn't that where Skippers was?
Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? Sorry, takes me back.
Had to go back.
I'm only older than one person up here. I'll let you guess who that is.
Stop it.
Well, besides these two young guys over here on the corner.
Gray Bangers, they might have guessed me.
Anyways, back to what we're talking about here. Any other comments, concerns? They did have a good fish and chicken basket at Skipper's back in the day.
How hungry were you?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Sorry to get you guys off track.
Since I'm on a roll, I'll make a motion that we approve the hillside development permit to allow disturbances of slopes exceeding 20% and to determine whether those slopes are natural or man-made. And we have determined that they are man-made, and we also including the recommendation from the Planning Commission that the retaining walls be stained to match the hillside.
Second.
Motion by, you threw me off, Steve. I thought you were going to get left out tonight. Motion by Danielle, second by Steve. We don't need a roll call. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. What else do we got, John?
We probably should adjourn into RDA.
So we need a motion to adjourn adjourn to RDA meeting, not from City Council.
Adjourn from City Council.
To RDA. There you go. We'll get it straight.
So
We need a
moved.
motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve, second by Danielle. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We're in RDA.
There's only one item on the RDA. Actually, there's two, but the first item is a public hearing consideration of resolution number RDA-2025-00R to review and approve amendments to the fiscal year 2024-25 budget.
Good evening, council/RDA board. Tonight's item is, there's one amendment that's being requested. Staff is requesting to amend the Dixie Center EDA to reimburse for roadway improvements that were made on Crosby Way and 120 East. These are improvements that were a part of a land purchase that the city did a number of years ago. These improvements were completed, and as part of that purchase agreement, it was identified that the Dixie Center EDA would be the source of reimbursing cost. These improvements including excavation, utility line installation, water and storm drain, curb and gutter, sidewalk, paving, and associated construction appurtenances, including traffic control, erosion control, design, etc. These improvements are again made as part of a reimbursement agreement that the city had entered with the developer. And so staff would request them in the budget amount of $175,985 to make this reimbursement in our Dixie Center EDA fund. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions for Robert before we open the public hearing? If there are none, then I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for this item for the RDA. For those who have come to speak to it, you're welcome to come up. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and come back to you for your action.
Mayor Pro Tem Hughes, I would like to recommend approval or make the motion that we approve this item. It's not showing up on, all it says is adjourn to the neighborhood redevelopment, so I don't know, is there a number to
2025, yeah, on your second page.
Got it, sorry.
Yep.
Try again. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution number RDA-2025-001R to review and approve the amendments to fiscal year 2024-2025 budget as presented by Mr. Meyer.
We have a motion by Steve, a second by Natalie. This is a resolution requiring a roll call vote. We'll start with Natalie.
Natalie Larson, aye.
Jimmy Hughes, aye.
Danielle Larkin, aye.
Steve Kemp, aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We also need to approve the, sorry, I didn't cut you off. You want to do that part?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. We also need a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting held on March 6th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting held March 6, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Natalie, second by Danielle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Now I need a motion to adjourn from RDA back to City Council.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Natalie, a second by Danielle. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now back in City Council. Do we have anything else for City Council? Reports. Do we need to do reports? Where are we here? Yeah. Any reports? Steve?
Nothing to report.
Awesome.
There's a lot of art over the next few weeks. So art around the corner, the 11th and 12th, Friday and Saturday. They're actually going to install, usually they install on Saturday, but because of the Washington County Fair Parade on Saturday, they'll install Friday. We'll do the parade Saturday morning, and then from 10 to noon on Saturday, if you want to meet the artists, they'll be standing there with their piece. It's so much fun to go and hear their stories about their inspiration, the piece, the materials they use. So that's a great opportunity. And then the week following that is the art festival. And the artist is still downtown painting. If you haven't seen it yet, the mural, it's coming along. It's looking really good on City View parking garage. So a lot of good things happening. And I just heard today from Michelle Graves, they opened the marathon Tuesday, and it's already half full. It's filled up faster than it ever has.
I better hurry then.
Jimmy, get
Give me
on
both.
there. Steve, you guys start stretching out and get registered. That's all. Thank you.
I've had a lot of comments on that mural. Thanks for keeping us updated, Danielle, on that. I've enjoyed your pictures. It's beautiful.
So maybe you remember going down to roller hockey and watching those adorable kids play roller hockey. Do you remember the dads that were down there? They won the Western Regional Championship in California, and it's the Desert Rats. And sad note to the area is like they are dads who are working jobs and don't have the funds to go to the national tournament, but they were on Fox 13 the other night, and I think what a great group of people in our community who've activated this sport on their own, who've got youth involved from all over the county, and they won the Western Regional Championship in California. So if you see them, congratulate them.
For ball hockey, right? This is where they just play with the.
Roller hockey.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think that's really commendable of them, that they've got all those kids, they built a program, but if you've ever watched them play, they're just blood, sweat, and tears, and good for them.
It was pretty impressive. Thank you for that update.
One more comment. I
Yep.
met this week with a former professional NHL player who, based on some of this kind of stuff happening, is coming into the community looking for ways to raise the level of awareness concerning hockey. And also, he let me know that Ryan Smith, the owner of the Utah Hockey Club, also the owner of Jazz, had put it out on Twitter, X, whatever, that he will be donating $500,000 for every sheet of ice that communities in Utah are willing to build.
Oh, very cool.
So he's very interested in raising both roller hockey and ice hockey.
No better place to see a good fight than a hockey game.
Yeah, I went to see a good fight and a hockey game broke out, hockey
Yeah.
match.
Thank you for that, Steve. Anything else we need with City Council?
We
All
just have to
appointments?
request to close.
Okay, I just need a motion to adjourn from City Council and to a closed meeting for discussion of property acquisition and litigation.
So moved.
Motion by Steve, second by Natalie. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We will adjourn to a closed meeting. Thank you all for coming.